Hey everyone, welcome to the Path of Yahweh podcast. My name is Justin and I'm here with my beautiful wife, Amber.
Hey guys.
Now, we're so excited that we're finally able to start this podcast and to have you guys here with us. This podcast has been in our hearts for a while now, and it's honestly beautiful that we're able to do what God has called us to do. So, at Path of Yahweh, our goal is pretty simple. We want to be able to create a space where we can have believers grow in their faith and strengthen their relationship with Christ and walk more intentionally within their purpose. So, although I do want to point out, we are not coming on here saying we're perfect people. There's only one person who's perfect, and that's Jesus.
Amen.
We're growing, we're learning, and we're building just as you guys are on this walk and this journey of loving and following Christ. Now, this is going to be a place where we're going to have real conversations, where real struggles may come up, real challenges, real love, and real faith. So, yeah. But what's crazy is that this all started as something completely different. Path of Yahweh, believe it or not, started as a clothing brand, a Christian clothing brand. As you can see, we have the merch on right now representing, right? So, this vision of the brand at the time was to represent faith boldly, to wear something that reflects your walk with God. And it can then spark conversation about Him. But as time passed on, we went on and we realized that God was expanding that vision that we first had. It wasn't just about what you wear. It was more about like how you live. And that's where the idea of this podcast was created. We felt led to go deeper, to not just represent faith outwardly through our clothing, but to be able to speak life and truth and encouragement into like people's lives. Now, looking ahead, we have goals that we want to hit for this platform. So we want to be able to build a strong faith-centered community. That's very important to us. We want to have conversations about life, marriage, and the struggles that may bring up. And then even with walking with God and how that may take effect. And eventually we hope, which is pretty cool, to have some people come on the podcast and we can have guests and they share their experiences and their testimonies on how they found Christ. And that can also give you guys a way to connect and reflect on your own lives. But most importantly, our number one goal is to be able to impact lives by bringing them back to Christ the proper way. So, this podcast is really for anyone who's trying to grow, whether that's your faith, you're just starting walking with Christ and you feel far, or even if you're just curious and you just have a few questions, that this is the place for you.
Yes, you guys belong right here. So with that being said, thank you guys for being on this journey with us. And today we're just going to ask each other a couple of questions, and that way you guys can get to know us, get to know who we are, and for you guys to see the faces behind the Path of Yahweh platform. So sit back, relax, and let's get into it.
Yeah. First question. How has your view on God changed from as a child till now?
I like this question. And I think it really sort of kind of goes into my testimony a little bit. For me, I grew up in a Catholic home. Not to say that it was, extremely religious, but I definitely grew up in the Catholic faith. We weren't worshiping saints. We weren't praying to saints by no means, but we were definitely attending Mass every Sunday. And I think growing up Catholic, it gave me sort of a rigid view of God, I think. And I don't want to make it seem like I'm bashing the Catholic Church by any means. I'm not here to do that. We're not here to do that. No. But this is just my personal experience with Catholicism. I think growing up, it gave me a rigid view of who God is.
Meaning, not to cut you off, but meaning like, this is who God is, this is what you need to do, this is how you get into heaven.
Exactly. And I also think with Catholicism and with my view of God, it was very work based. I had to earn my salvation. I had to earn my way to heaven. And I felt like, again, for me personally, I felt like growing up, that was the ultimate goal, was to get to heaven. And the only way to get to heaven, as far as I was concerned, being raised in Catholicism, was by doing good deeds or doing the 7 sacraments, you know? And it wasn't until I got to college where I really, really realized who God is. And it was one of my professors who really challenged me, actually. And just a side note, it's the only class I ever got a B in, but it's also
that's
A
that's
plus,
something.
A
plus
plus
student.
across the board. Every
Try hard. Try hard over here. Yeah.
No, but I just think it's interesting how it's the only class I ever got, to me, what a low grade is. But it's also the class that I'm really grateful for, and I was really challenged. And it was an elective, so I really didn't even really need the class. I only really needed it for the credit. But he challenged me and my viewpoint on who God is. And it was in that class that I realized that, yes, of course, God is, you know, he is the ruler. He is the Alpha and the Omega. He is the beginning and end.
The King of all kings.
The King of all kings, exactly.
Yep.
He is that. Of course he is. And he is, you know, he is the authority figure that is above all of us, of course. But he's not just that. He's not just a wrathful God. He is a loving Father as well. And as a matter of fact, he is love. Like, that's what God is. He is love. And it's hard to comprehend, you know, because I feel like, you know, we're made of flesh, and and we of course, we're the only creatures on earth who can fathom and who can ration and who can think about these questions that we're asking right now. But at the same time, it's hard for us to understand the totality of who God is and what God is. But the best way I can describe it, and the best way my professor described it to me, was that God is literally love. Like, that is what he is in his truest form. And therefore, he cannot do anything else but love.
So, I'm sorry, let me cut you off. So, in a way, growing up, you were just taught fear God.
Essentially.
But now, how did that change?
Now, instead of fearing God, which I still do, I think it's important to still fear God, to still have that, you know, that respect for God. Not fear in the sense of I have to run away from God.
Like, be scared.
Yeah, exactly. Or be scared of God.
Right.
Fearing God in the sense that I respect him enough. Like, you fear your parents, sort of way. Yeah, but I think a good parent, at the end of the day, even though they set that boundary between them and their child, to have that respect and to fear them in a sense, right? To respect them, but also having that relationship where if you mess up, you can come to me and I will help you and I will fix your problem as a parent. And that's what God is, I think. God is a parent who allows you to come to him with open arms, you know, and that's how my relationship and my viewpoint on God has changed. What once was, I need to run away from God when I mess up, has now become, I need to run to God. I got to call my dad, you know, immediately. I don't know what to do. Let me call my father.
Whenever
That's like,
you mess up.
right, exactly. Or I'm considering something. I don't know where to go. I don't know what to do. The first thing is I got to pick up the phone. I got to go to God. I got to go to dad, essentially.
And what's great is you got connection anywhere.
Right.
He's with you at all times.
Speed dial.
Speed dial. Right. Boop, boop, boop. Yo, God talk to you. Like, you know, that I'm sorry, but that's funny because it's like a lot of people, they think, oh, I need to like sit down in a quiet room and I need to light the candles, or I gotta burn essence or whatever.
Yeah, no.
People think they have to do these certain things to be able to speak to God. Yes. Don't get me wrong. He's Alpha and Omega, the power above all powers.
Right.
But at the end of the day, I guess now through a Christian lens, being that God is so loving, that you can come as you are.
Yes, exactly. And he will meet you where you are.
Yeah.
You know, like,
that doesn't mean come disrespectful.
No, of course not. No. But it also means come as you are. Don't stay as you are, but come as you are,
Right.
you know? And just to segue a little bit, I think sometimes people think that they can't come to God because their sins are too dirty, you know? And that is far from the truth, you know? You don't get into the shower already cleaned. You get into the shower to get cleaned, you know? And
Well, that's good.
yeah, that's what God is. You know, Jesus is the running water. So you gotta go in, you gotta get cleansed, and you come with your filthy rags. You don't come with clean rags for God to clean. And I mean, that's good too, but you know, you come as you are. You don't stay as you are. But it's important that you give your garbage to the original Mr. Clean. You know, that's what who God is. He is Mr. Clean.
It's funny, we heard that in church.
Yes,
They use that
yeah.
analogy in church that he's the original Mr.
And
Clean.
he is the original Mr. Clean.
But
And
God has hair.
yeah,
That's the only thing. I feel like God has hair. Like Mr. Clean, he don't got no hair.
oh
I
my
mean,
goodness.
I'm gonna be down to Mr. Clean path soon. But anyway, yeah, that's
So-
story for a different day.
So yeah, I think that's how my viewpoint on God has changed. Where once was I have to run away from God, or you know, I can't come to him because I'm shameful of X, Y, and Z. You know, has now become, no, I have to go to God before anything else. Of course, you know, I'm still learning how to do that also.
Right.
And I will say, like, because I grew up in a Catholic household for most of my life, you know, and the foundational years of my life. So I still find myself sometimes like trying to break down the walls of my religion and just coming to God with, you know, as who I am. And, you know, I try to remind myself daily that it's a relationship with God, you know, just as a relationship in a marriage or a friendship or, you know, family relationships. It shouldn't be rigid. It shouldn't be structured. This is who I am, God. I know who you are. You know who I am. You've called me for X, Y, and Z. And, you know, this is it. Like, it shouldn't be so formal. It doesn't have to be so formal. And that's what I'm learning. And again, I'm learning that every day. I think that I'm grateful for my foundation. Don't get me wrong. I'm grateful for,
because that's your start.
right. I'm grateful for being raised in a faith-based home, 100%. I'm grateful that my mother gave me a foundation that I can always run back to.
Right.
But I'm even more grateful for knowing now that the building blocks of who I am doesn't have to be so perfect and so rigid. And it could be messy, and that's okay. And that's what sometimes a relationship is. It's messy sometimes, and God isn't gonna, you know, he doesn't want me to come to him and pretend that I'm perfect. He wants me to just come to him.
Right.
And that is how my viewpoint on God has changed. And of course, like I said, I'm still learning, I'm still growing in that. But yeah, that's
great.
Yeah.
That's great.
Thank you. Now to ask you though, how has your relationship with God changed from when you were younger a couple of years ago, or even to now as a young man?
A young man? Well, honestly, my story is completely different from yours. Completely different from yours. Like, it's actually the quite opposite. Where I was raised, again, I wasn't raised in the Catholic faith, or even in the Christian faith. I was just told that as a young age, God is good, God is love, and whenever we eat, we have to pray to God. And the reason why you're blessed and where you are in life is because of God. So that's kind of like how I was brought up. You know, there was no practice behind God. You know, I didn't even know too much about Jesus. I didn't. Which I guess is a reason as to why at one point in my life, I started to lose faith, because there was a lack of understanding. But now, as a kid, I just looked at God as that's the being, or that's God, the creator who gives me things when I do good. But there was a lot more layers to it that I just didn't understand.
Right.
Now, as an adult, now I look at God as the one above all. You know, he's everything. Anything that is love, I was correct. Anything that is love is God.
Right. And he's in everything.
Right.
Yeah.
But there's a lot more layers to God now too. Like God has different feelings. Like we were made in God's image,
Right.
meaning the same emotions that we go through, God does as well.
Mm-hmm.
You know? So like now I feel like I now see God for truly what he is.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, a loving father, but he also has different emotions too. He's not
Mm-hmm.
just always, he's always loving, yes.
Mm-hmm.
And he does everything for a purpose and for a reason. But I just now, I feel like I understand the different layers of God.
I like that. And I think
Yeah.
sometimes we think because we're so, like, we can't see God, you know, well, Jesus Christ is God, but
Yes.
I think sometimes we think that because we can't see God right now in his physical form, we don't personify God enough.
Right.
You know, we forget that God feels exactly what we feel because, like you said, we're created in his image.
Right.
You know, God feels pain too. He's happy. He's sad.
Yes.
He gets jealous, right? The Bible tells us that he's a jealous God, you know, for our benefit, for our good, of course. So yeah, I think it's important sometimes to realize that. I feel like if only people felt like God was just like how we are, in a sense that, you know, he feels also what we feel, we'd have a deeper relationship with God.
Yeah.
You know, because it'd feel like fostering a relationship with a friend, another human being, as opposed to a creator who we're so distant from, you know, proximity wise.
Right.
But I think it's important, like you said, God is everywhere. He is
Yeah.
in everything.
He's here.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
He's in this
He's
room.
there. He's
Yes.
with you guys.
Yes, and
Look behind you.
the Holy
No,
Spirit,
right.
you know?
Yeah.
The Holy Spirit is in everything so long as we've invited him into it.
Yes. Yes.
And also, you know, not to segue again, but I think a question that a lot of Christians tend to get is, well, how do you know that God exists, right? And I think the best answer that I could ever give is just look around.
Yeah.
You know, just look around. We
Yeah.
live in a beautiful world, chaotic world, but a
Yes.
beautiful world.
Yes.
You know, from the simple things that we take for granted, and it's not simple, but the things that we take for granted, the sun, the sky, the stars, the moon, the
Being able to
plants.
breathe.
Yeah.
Having cells work in your body.
Yes,
the science behind it.
without you having to tell your body what to do, you know?
Having food be able to break down
Yes.
different foods. Like our bodies were made for the purpose
Yes.
of doing that.
Yes.
You know?
Sustaining life, women being able to give life, you know, like all these different things that there cannot be any other explanation for other than a perfect, intelligent creator.
Yep.
You know, and we can argue that
We go back and forth.
that's probably going to be one of our episodes, like, you know,
Yeah.
talking about religion versus science or whatever, faith versus secularism. But yeah, just to put that out there, you know, God is in everything, like you said, and you said that so beautifully. He is literally everywhere, and he is love.
Yeah.
Yeah. And to go into our next question, what's one thing you feel that we do really well in our marriage? And what is one thing you think that we can improve on?
In our marriage? Well, let me just iterate that we are now married for going on about 6 months,
Yes,
real
6
soon.
months next month.
Right.
Yep, in April.
And we've been together for about 7 to 8 years.
Yeah.
And thank God, it's been a journey.
It has.
But
And
it's been a beautiful journey.
it has been a beautiful journey. And I think it's been even more beautiful, well, for me, to see us grow up together. You know, we're not who
like
we
as kids.
once were. And I thank God for that. You know, I thank God for.
I was a crazy kid. So it's like you sold me at my craziest to now I guess like at my calmest in a way too.
He's still crazy. A good crazy.
Okay.
A fun crazy.
All right.
No.
All right. All right.
No, you have a zest for life, and I love that.
The zest.
A zest for life. What? Like you know, you're.
Oh. It's like a zest.
No, what is wrong? No, you really.
I'm sorry. It's just.
Anyway, no, you just love life, and I love I love doing life with you.
Nah,
Yeah.
I love doing
So,
life with you. Yeah.
yeah, it's beautiful to see where we once were to who we are now, and I think it's gonna.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Yo, I'm not gonna lie. All right, so I'm like,
Oh my
I
God.
love cracking jokes. I just be
Yeah, this
laughing to
is for you guys to
myself.
see who we really are,
Yeah,
and
like I just be laughing. I'll be cracking jokes. I'll be cracking jokes with myself. Like I love to laugh. This is just.
yeah.
I'm sorry. Get into the
And
second
I
question.
think
My
he's the
bad.
funniest person ever. You could stand in the corner and clap your hands, and I'm gonna laugh with you.
Yeah.
Like, yeah,
I'm about to test that. I'm gonna start clapping at the end. Once I stop recording, I'm gonna start clapping.
I'm gonna be
If you ain't
laughing.
laughing, I'm gonna come back here and I'm gonna be like, she a
Yeah.
liar. She lying to me.
Anyway, so yeah, what is one thing in our relationship that you think we really do well at, and what is one thing you think we should improve on?
Okay. All right. One thing I actually do think we do well at, and we have gotten better as time goes on. Because again, we started as children,
Yes.
right? Is
Teenagers.
as teenagers would be our communication. Now,
Yes.
when it comes to communicating, I think that's a very, very important part of any relationship.
Jinx. Jinx again.
Oh no, you didn't catch
Oh,
that.
sorry.
God, wood is over there. I gotta knock on wood. Touch red. Anyway, um, yeah, is our communication. Like, I could be well. What's beautiful about as us being together for so long is we know each other. Like, look, we just said the same thing. Like at the same time, we're synced. All right. Like you're connected to my Bluetooth and I'm connected to yours. You know. So I can walk in the door and you can just automatically look at me and see how I feel. You know, like that communication is already present to you that another person might not be able to pick up, which I love about our relationship. But even if I have something going on, you know, so let's say something happens throughout the day, like I'm able to bring that to you. And I think our communication strengthened more as we got more into our faith and our love for Christ.
Yes.
Because I realized something. After really devoting our lives to Christ, we're then bringing whatever may happen throughout the day, our issues, whatever that may be, to God. So I'll bring it to God first. Once he gives the okay and he checks off on it and he brings me back to a peace of mind, I bring it to you. So anything that's brought to you goes to God first. And I think that's really important for anyone to do, especially, you know, looking to in a relationship and looking to build a godly relationship or a godly marriage or whatever that may be, is to bring everything to Christ first.
I agree.
He will know how to solve and handle your problems before you go to anyone. And I want to continue to do that and even do better than I am now at communicating that with God to then communicate that with you. But I think honestly, again, we've been, you know, if we feel some way, we don't go to bed angry at each other. We want to discuss that before we at least go to sleep. Because God forbid, who knows if we'll wake up the next day, you know, and that I never want to live with any regret, you know.
Yeah, I agree. I think our communication, you know, has gotten tremendously better. I think when you're a teenager, everything feels like the end of the world to you.
Yeah.
You know, like
yeah. So you'd be like,
you don't talk for a few
you'd be like,
days.
you didn't text me
Yeah.
after you got home. Forget you.
Yeah, you know, when you're a teenager, everything feels like the end of the world.
Yeah, because you're learning and you're going through your hormones and the changes and whatnot, which is normal.
Of course.
It's normal.
You're learning who you are. You're learning somebody else as well. And it's your first time doing life. You know, it's your first time doing life. And, you know, there's no handbook to life other than the Bible. But, right? Other than the Bible, but still life happens. And you're learning and you're growing. And, you know, and I think, again, seeing us go from kids to who we are now, not saying we have it all figured out because we don't.
No, we don't. We'll probably argue tomorrow.
But no, but it's true. Like we it's definitely not what it used to be. And like you said, like we're so connected where we don't even have to speak literally to be able to communicate, and we can sense how the other is feeling, and it's not only just communication as far as speaking on what is the issue. It's also the other person listening, and I feel like that's something we also
have improved on.
Yeah,
right.
listening to the other person.
Right.
So for me, what I was going to say to answer the question was, I think we really do well at considering the other as well.
Yes.
Before every action that I commit, and it doesn't even have to sometimes involve you, like just me doing something, like let's just say me on my own, right? I always consider you first. That's something that I always do. And so that's something you always do as well. And I'm so thankful and grateful that I have a partner who does that, who considers me in every decision that you make. And I think I do the same thing. And as long as we continue to do that, I think that, we'll eliminate selfishness, which that shouldn't even be something that's in a marriage. But some marriages go through that, where one person may be more selfish than the other. That's not something that we, thankfully experience. And because we consider each other, anytime a family member wants to come over, you're like, hey, babe, is it okay if so-and-so comes over? Anytime, whatever the case may be, I don't know, I can't think of anything off the top of my head other than that. But every decision that we make, we tell the other person and we consider how the other person feels about X, Y, and Z. And I love that about us.
Yeah. Like just another example, even if like we're going out to eat and I know that you don't like a spot, I may suggest another spot that you do like. Like I'll consider that. I'll take that. Things. Yeah.
And I think that's, people say it's the little things that matter. It's true. It's the little things that matter. It's the little things that keep a relationship going. Sometimes we can get wrapped up in the big things, but it's the little everyday things, I think, depending on whether you're doing them or not, can grow into big things.
Right.
So because we do the little things well, because we consider each other for the little things, I know that we consider each other for the big things, And so, I love that we consider just plain consideration. That's it. Thinking about the other person before we make a decision or before we act upon something. That's something we do really well at. And I love that about us. Something that we can improve on, I think, I think sometimes we are always on the go.
Yep.
I don't know if it's a New Yorker thing. I don't know if it's...
New York represent, baby.
I don't know if it's a New York thing. I don't know what it is, but I think sometimes we're always trying to get somewhere or trying to do something else. And I love our ambition, don't get me wrong. And I love that we have a drive towards everything, But I think sometimes we can get a little impatient. I think sometimes you and I just maybe could
be more grounded.
Be more grounded. Take each and every moment in without trying to do the next thing, and not just for our relationship, just lives in general, pausing a little bit, being more grounded, taking it all in, as opposed to trying to get somewhere. And it's hard because we live in a fast-paced culture, city, whatever you want to call it.
Everything's on the move,
Everything's on the go.
Yeah.
And we experienced that when we travel out of the city. Like
everything feels
going
slow.
to Jersey, felt everything was just.
If anyone here lives in Jersey, Pennsylvania, like a day is like a year
to us.
Yeah.
We spent the weekend in Jersey, and it felt like the longest weekend. A good long.
Like I felt like I was able to enjoy it in a minute. I remember like we looked at the time and we're like. It was like, I don't know, 11:30.
Yeah.
And then like,
we were like,
it felt like 20 minutes later, we looked at the time, 11:03.
Yeah.
I was like, yeah.
It felt like, time was just going so slow. And it felt amazing. Maybe we got to move out of the city.
I don't know.
But no, I think that's something that we can work on. Not only in our marriage, but something for ourselves as individuals, taking one day at a time, taking it all in.
Patience.
Patience, relaxing, not trying to be on the next thing.
Right.
Yeah.
Because we might, what a lot of people, and us too, what we don't realize is that we may be such in a rush that we're missing our blessings.
Yeah, of course.
And
Yeah.
exactly where we are right now, yes, that's where God intends for us to be. But let's look 5 years down the line, 10 years, 15, 20 years down the line. We're going to look back and be like, man, I wish.
Yeah.
And that's where we live. That's when we're going to live with regret.
Yeah,
you
and that's
know?
something I don't ever
That's
want to
not
do.
something we want to do.
And I feel like everybody, those who are taking their last breath of life, I think the number one thing that they wish they had is more time.
Yeah, that's the one thing you can't buy.
Right. You can't buy time and you can't get time back.
No.
So taking it all in, taking it day by day,
Right.
and being thankful for the now and not trying to get to tomorrow because tomorrow might not even come.
Right.
Oh,
preach, sister, preach.
Anyway.
So a challenge. Hold on, I didn't say my challenge.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, hold on. So a challenge that I think that we can do better at. Yes, I 100% agree with you. But a challenge that I think we can do better at is maybe, I guess you say, motivating each other more. Like pushing each other for that next thing. Like, yes, we go and we're driven and we go for our goals, yes. But just to push each other for new goals and help each other, establish some new goals to accomplish.
Yeah.
Especially that we're able to be given another day of another blessing of a day. Yeah, definitely, like setting those new goals, checking them off the list, and just keep on moving forward together. I think that's I guess we can work on more, is just pushing each other. Yeah. That's pretty much it. That was a quick one. But yeah, I think we could jump into the last question.
Yeah, definitely.
All right, so for the last question, it's going to be more so focused with our relationship with God.
Okay.
So how has your experience in God's presence in your life, even if it's small, like how has it looked with those everyday moments? How is God shown in your life?
In the small
In the small moments, yes.
Well, the very first thing I do when I open my eyes, very first thing is I got into a habit, and I really encourage this for anybody who wants to feel more grounded, especially talking about time and, being in the now. I got into the habit of waking up first thing in the morning and placing my hand on my heart and just thanking God, again, not formally, not, but just, Father, thank you for opening my eyes for another day, another opportunity, more blessings, even the challenges that I may face today. Thank you for those challenges. Thank you for allowing me to live another day of life, because I woke up, I know you're not done with me. I know there's more work that I need to do and you need to do through me. So thank you for that. That's the very first thing I do when I wake up in the morning. So I feel like those few minutes or the few, first few seconds of just opening my eyes and just having that immediate connection with God is something that I really, really am grateful for. Something that I really feel like it just brings me back to life. Instead of, jumping up, running to get ready in the morning, trying to rush somewhere.
Right.
Just taking those first few minutes to just spend time alone with God is something that I feel like has drastically just improved my daily habits and my daily life. And I feel like in those quiet moments, that's when I feel God the most, because I feel like he's there. Another thing that I feel like also helps me like feel God's presence is when you and I pray, like before we go to bed at night. When we pray over each other, I really feel God's presence like hovering above us, and like the Holy Spirit in the room when we pray. And the word says that where two or more are gathered in his name, like he's right there. Of course I'm paraphrasing, but I really feel God's presence in moments of prayer, in quiet moments where it's just maybe you and I, or just me by myself. I feel like God's presence is there. And yeah, just in the quiet everyday moments, and throughout my daily, like I'll always try to find a a moment to talk to God, you know, and to myself quietly on my walk home. Probably look crazy because I'm talking to myself, but
Like
I'm talking to God.
I'm across the
I'm
street.
walking here,
And
okay?
oh wow. I'm looking at you and you're just talking to yourself. I'm like, oh, it's another New York thing. Like
Yeah.
it's just another
No, or
day.
people may think
Like
I'm on the
people,
phone, but I'm not.
oh,
Like
yeah, that's
I'm
true.
talking to the Lord. Let me
That's true. That's
give
true.
me
That's
my
true.
moment,
Yeah,
okay?
that's it.
No, because you know, again, we're always on the go. It's busy, you know,
Yeah.
but I don't ever want my busyness to be an excuse as to why I don't talk to God. You know, I don't have an excuse to not talk to God.
Right.
So I try to find those moments throughout my daily life where I can just talk to God, and I feel like that's how I keep my relationship with Him. You know, it doesn't have to be so formal, it doesn't have to be so rigid, it doesn't have to be so structured. It can just be like, hey God, you know,
Yeah, I'm here.
I'm here, right?
Yeah.
Talk to me. You know, and that's another thing. Like, instead of me just talking, because I could talk. Instead of me just doing that,
Yeah, we can tell. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just joking. Nah, I love you
instead
talking.
of me just talking, I feel like also listening. You know,
Yeah.
like God, what do you want to tell me today?
Right.
What do you, you know, want to bring to my attention? What do I have to do to, you know, hear from you or whatever that, you know, whatever. Just listening, I think also is how I really feel God's presence. Just being intentional about my little moments or my big moments with God, being intentional about all of them. And
That's beautiful.
yeah.
No,
Yeah.
that's beautiful.
How about you? Like, what are like your daily life, your daily walk, literally, right? Like, how do you feel God's presence? Do you have any habits that really help you feel God's presence?
One thing that I'm trying to do now through prayer is when things are going good to pray.
Yeah.
Like I don't want to when something's going bad, I have to go pray. Mm-mm. Yeah, sure. It's important to pray
You should,
when
but
at all times when things are going bad. But I try to live in the positive as well and just be grateful for what I have.
gratitude.
You know, just show gratitude. Like I I want to not only just focus on like God's not a genie. You know, He's not here where something's going bad. I'm going to pray for him so He can fix it. Yeah, but that's not His sole purpose. Like I'm just trying right now more to to build my relationship where it's more of a conversation throughout the whole day,
Yeah.
opposed to just being only when something's going wrong.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, just taking those little moments, like kind of how you said, like when I'm on my lunch, I'll walk and I'll pray and I'll thank God and I feel Him there.
Yeah.
You know, I'll talk to Him, and even in the morning, like when I wake up and I'm getting ready, and I'll be honest, I'm rushing out the house, and I don't live far. I'm close to my job, but I'm rushing out the house. Like it's I'll just give that moment to God to just say, "Hey God, I'm here,
Right.
and I know You're there,
Yeah.
and thank You." You know, that's a big thing. Just thanking Him for the little moments. You know, I think that's just such a beautiful thing.
I love those little moments, and I really love the quiet moments,
Yeah,
and when it feels like the rest of the world is sleeping,
yeah,
and it's just you and God, and you know, I just really appreciate that. It just feels like there's nobody else. It's just you and the Creator of the universe, the one who knows you more than you know yourself,
yeah,
and it's it's beautiful. It's hard to describe, but it's a feeling that's like no other.
yeah,
You know, when it's just quiet time with you and the Lord, and it's something that sometimes I think that we take for granted. You know, being able to just speak to literally the Creator of the universe. Maybe we don't take it for granted, but we don't realize the intensity of it. You know,
Right.
that's a beautiful thing to have.
right,
That one-on-one relationship, that one-on-one connection with God.
yeah.
You know, so yeah, I love those moments.
That's beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So yeah, I think that's all the
Yeah.
questions. You know, I think went well for a first.
I think so too. Let us know what you guys think.
Yeah, let us know. Comment
Not too
down
much.
below.
Not too much.
Not too much comments?
No.
Don't what?
Don't judge us. No, but
even if listen.
No, but we want to encourage conversation. You know, we want to encourage you guys to speak just how we're speaking, and we're learning and we're growing, and we want to be able to have that relationship with you guys as well, that community where you guys can let us know how you're feeling. You know, let us know what you liked, what you didn't like, and let's be real. Let's be authentic. You know, let's not be rigid or structured. Let's just have conversations.
Now, another thing, even if you need a prayer.
Yeah. Let us know.
I'm okay with episode 2. You know, someone needs a prayer for something, or you want to send a prayer for someone else that someone else may be going through, comment it, and we would love to pray for them, even off camera. It's not,
because that's what we're here for. You know.
Yeah.
And I think platforms like this are important. You know, where would we be if someone didn't tell us about Jesus? Lord knows where we'd be, right?
That's true.
So
that's true.
Just being able to speak about the Lord, you know, with all the craziness in the world right now and all the negativity, all the negative things that are said, you know, I think conversations about Jesus need to be had more.
Yeah.
And that's what we're here for. Just talk about Jesus, you know, something that seems simple but might not be, especially in the world we live in today.
Right.
Let's talk about Jesus.
Let's do it.
Yeah. So thank you guys so much for watching, for joining us on this journey with us.
Yes.
We are so excited that we are able to do this, and we're so grateful that we're able to do this.
Yeah.
And we want to hear from you guys. So please, you know,
comment down below.
Comment down
how
below.
it went. Comment down below any prayers that you may have for someone. Comment down below just to say hi.
Yeah. Let's get to know you guys, and we're so excited for this journey. And again, thank you guys for being on this journey with us.
Yeah. Thank you guys. Thank God.
Yep.
We love you, and we hope to see you soon. We're not stuck to a schedule, but we hope to see you soon. All right.
Bye, guys.
Peace out, guys.